Yo, 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 welcome back. Sorry we're a little late, guys. The weather down here in Texas has been just throwing me through pretty much anything you could pretty much think about. So right now we're just waiting for Annette to log into our StreamYard. So we're just going to do our thing down here and we're going to talk about some things that's going on. Today's podcast episode is Tragedy to Triumph. What does that mean to you guys, Pop Tart and Professor?
I'm gonna let Professor go ahead and hit that one first.
Why me? But hey, for me, I mean, it's coming from a low and taking some low point in your life or something that made you to become low and getting up top, getting above it, becoming a better person from it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree completely. 100% about what you're talking about. So basically, what we're discussing now is how to go from something that would impact you in such a negative way and change it into something super positive, right? And I'm just making sure that I don't have that. We are having we're changing some things around, guys. We're doing stuff through 1080p, through Pop Tart's deal. We kind of didn't have a situation for us to set it up because I've been out pretty much most of the day dealing with frozen pipes and making sure my wife got home from work okay and all this stuff. So I do apologize if we have any issues with technical stuff tonight. We're working on things. It'll only get better, I promise you. So without further ado, because I know we're on a time restraint with her and she definitely has a lot to say and only a little bit of time because of me to say it. So we're going to bring in Miss Annette to the stream. Hey, Miss Annette, what's going on, girl?
Hey.
So I'm glad you guys are staying warm where everybody is. Be safe out there. It's crazy, but we're good. So let's talk a little bit, Miss Ned, about what you're about, what A Wild Ride Called Life is, what your podcast is about, the book that you're written, and the book that, if I recall correctly, that you are in process of writing number 2, if I read correctly. Am I right?
Yes.
Good deal.
Yes. Gosh. Okay. So let's see. A Wild Ride Called Life. That started out as my own personal blog. Just talking about my own mental health struggles as soon as I retired from the Army, stuff that I had held on to just, from childhood on, but mostly just talking about post-Army. After, I started to regain my voice back to be able to do that, I also had to learn how to accept criticism because I had people who were like, why do you put that stuff on social media?
Right.
And are you talking to someone? So it was, that was kind of hard to hear because I wasn't really sure what the feedback was going to be. I didn't think about it. I just thought it was, this is for me. And if I can help somebody, then, it'll be worth it. But, with that just came, it was just a lot of trial and error, but I had to keep pushing for myself. So I wanted to do more. And so that's when I started the podcast. I was like, I'm just going to start a podcast. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it. I don't know where it's going to go, but I want to provide a platform for people to be able to use their voice.
Right.
And so that's what I did. It's called The Truth We Hide. And I think I just picked the title more because it related to me. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, military and not military, that have hidden a lot of stuff due to the stigma of mental health. And let's just see where it goes. And so now it's been over a year. We have 106.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was figuring out the issue and I figured it out. We're good. I got it.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So here we are. And so I write, I do the podcast, I speak, I write books and just like all the things. And I'm kind of in awe of how far I've come, because 2 years ago I was just pretty much done.
Yeah,
So,
I feel pretty much everybody on this panel that's sitting here before us has been through times like that, where we just felt like giving up, or throwing in the towel, or not feeling like we were worth continuing working on ourselves anymore. I mean,
mm,
I know for a fact that pretty much all three of us here have gone through trials and tribulations of life. I know that yours was more traumatic because of certain details. If you wish to talk about it, that's fine. If not, it's okay too. Because really, this is all about just where we came from and how we got to where we are now after a what we would consider a tragedy, or a negative impact on our personal world, both inside and outside, and how we recovered or are still recovering on the positive side from that negative tragedy.
yeah.
So, if you would like to, man, I'm telling you, this mic picks up everything. If you would like to discuss in not as much detail as you want to, but you can talk about things as much as you want. But really, we're all here about healing. I mean, I don't mind starting off. Pretty much everybody here knows what happened to me about a week ago. And it doesn't compare to what happened to a lot of people, but if you can take such a tragedy like that happened and spin it into a positive, that's huge. It's huge. So, if you would like to share, that's fine. If you want to wait and hear what Pop Tart, myself, and Professor have to say, and if you feel compelled to add in, or see if like what we're doing is the right way. I won't even say the right way, but the positive way to transition from the negative that we had into the positive that we're moving forward from your standpoint, when you're helping numerous other people that are dealing with mental health issues, with self isolation and self harm, feeling you're not good enough. Oh, I'm just this little person. I'm not worth everybody's attention. And in reality, you are. Everybody deserves to have everybody's attention somewhere in some form or another. Whether it's from your spouse, from your lover, from your friends, from your family. Everybody needs to know that it's okay to be not okay. It's just where you come from. So if Professor Pop Tart or Ned or myself, if you guys want to go first and just talk about some things like we were discussing.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll start, because, my journey with, I've had a real deal with depression and anxiety issues. Also, I think it was culminated by the fact that when I got out of the military, I got out of the Army and literally was a nobody, and you spend so much time in the military learning your job. You build your whole world is basically the Army. You got your friends, you live in the barracks, you do everything together. You get out, life has been continuing while you've been still in the service. So you get out, you feel like you're behind the power curve. I don't have a degree, then I come to the problem of, I can't sleep. I don't like being out in public. I'm drinking a half gallon of whatever beverage it is to be able to get a good night's sleep. My back was hurting, and it came to moms are awesome. Mothers are awesome, because it came to one night where I was just gonna, take myself away from this pain that I was experiencing, and she randomly just called me. It was like 2:00 in the morning. She's like, "Mike, are you all right?" I said, "Huh? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "You all right? I just feel in my spirit that something's wrong with you." And, my mom's like, she's a religious woman, good woman too. But she, I talked to her, cried, and she took me to the VA the next day. And come to find out, I had was suffering from undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder from deployments. And that was only half the battle. At least I understood what the problem was. It was seeking treatment and allowing myself to open up and receive that treatment. Because a lot of, I'm not going to say all veterans, but I'll say majority of the ones I know, they kind of, they kind of missed, they kind of missed the mark with keeping up with their appointments and things of that nature. And I was doing really, really, really well. And then the past 2 years, my old unit, it seemed like twice a month, every other month, somebody was taking themselves away from this, this realm. And it really came to the head when I had a buddy. He called, like I talked to Pando about this and Professor. He called me at 2:00 in the morning. Mind you, I get up early. I can sleep through a mortar attack, so I'm asleep. I can't hear my phone. He called me, and I woke up that morning, looked at my phone, and was like, "Oh, he called me." So I go on Facebook, and the first thing I see is like, "Rest in peace, such and such," and he took himself he took himself from us, and what hurt me the most was if I don't answer that phone call, would he still be here? And it's taken me a long time to get over it. A lot of people will say, "Oh man, it's not your fault. You were asleep. I know you would have helped him." But that's easy to say, So and what I draw from that is now is like, okay, you can control what you can control, but with that said, I'm doing my best from since that day, my best to keep in touch with people, and even if it's just, "Hey, how's it going?" Just be an available ear. And that was the roughest week of like a long time I've had, and I still think about him to this day.
Yeah, that's a traumatic thing, man. First off, thank you for sharing. That is the first healthy thing is realizing a situation and then creating a plan around it, whether it's to go through the grieving process, to go through seeking help, to go through at least just seeking somebody to talk to, like a friend or a relative, or I mean, even just somebody unbiased from like the VA or anything like that. Just being able to not hold that in. When you hold it in, it's toxic. It's very caustic. It's very, very just it will eat away at you. It's like you're walking around with the weight of the world on your shoulder, and really, it's just your thought processes of what you have to go through the situation that you were in. And I'm pretty sure, Annette had to go through that same deal with everything that she went through. But I feel that how she transitioned from being broken and not happy with herself to where she's at now. I mean, she can look and she can smile and she can feel again. And that's huge, not only for females in general, just for humanity, the humanity inside you, for you to be able to realize it's okay to open up to people. That's like a lot of people with me that they see that I'm very transparent. I share every up and down because you don't know who needs to hear that today. That's why you have that blog, and that's why you invite people to tell their story on your blog, is because anybody can have a connection with another person. Anybody can. But having a connection with a community of people that have gone through the same thing, or at least the same emotional or physical issue that you did, allows that group for positive growth. And I really like what you're doing with the podcast that you have, your book, and the blog space. So tell me a little bit about that healing, and how Mike, like from a psychological standpoint, of course, why did Pop Tart have that first initial feeling? Because I've had friends that take their life, and I missed a phone call, and I could have been, well, what if I answered the phone? Is that just a usual, I don't want to say standard, but just a usual reaction as a human, because of it's always the what if. What if I tried harder? What if I picked up that phone? What if I reached out to him the day before? A lot of people go through that. So I guess it would be the same situation about you as well. What if I opened up earlier? What if I would have talked to somebody instead of let it brood in me for so long and weigh me down?
Yeah, that's it's a lot of mixed emotions. I lost a soldier to suicide right after I got out of command, and I felt like, how come I didn't see the signs? How come I didn't know? He was, quiet, shy, but he smiled. He was a hard worker. I was so mad at myself because I felt like I was the commander. I was supposed to take care of him. How come I didn't know? We went to Iraq and came back, and I had no idea. So I could sympathize in a way to feeling like, what if? And I still think about Specialist John Fish to this day. So it's just so hard. And over the years, as we lose people, we feel, well, how come we didn't know? I feel that now with my own kids who go through things. How come I can't see what they're going through? Maybe it's because it's too close to home. But even more so, I get upset with myself because it's like, I'm a freaking mental health advocate. I'm a speaker. I know the signs for me. How come I don't know the signs for my kids? So we could sit here and say, how come and what if and why, but in reality, we just, there's just things that we can't help everybody, even though we want to. Like, I know I wanted to save the world, but I know I can't. But we can still continue to show up on platforms like these to spread that message. And I do wish I would have spoken up sooner, because then maybe I wouldn't have been I feel like I was a terrible mother at times. Maybe my daughter wouldn't have thought I had a drinking problem. Maybe she wouldn't have thought that I was bipolar, because she thought all those things. Maybe I wouldn't have had road rage. And the way I treated her, I think about it now, and I just cringe, because man, I was terrible. But it was my only outlet, because I didn't know how to talk about it, and nobody could fix me, because I'm supposed to be this badass. I'm supposed to be tough. I'm a leader. I was an officer. I was this, I was that. And I was supposed to be this person that I wasn't. So when I had to retire early, that stung me. Like, it deflated all my ego. It made me feel like, man, I couldn't even, I was so close, to fulfilling this one thing that I wanted to do, and I couldn't do it. And I lost my identity. Like you said earlier, we weren't anybody anymore out of uniform, So, and as a female and as a male too, we lose that power that we used to have. Now we were just Annette. We were just, Jack. We were just, and it took me years to realize that I was more than just that. But it was just a lot.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing is though? The old adage is, and I hate to put it this way, is a mechanic's car is always broke. A carpenter's house is always run down, because they're too busy helping everybody else to watch what theirs is. It's they're eye blind, really. Like, everybody comes nose blind to certain smells if they're constantly smelling like the same smell. Like, people that live in a hoarded house, they don't understand that their house is actually just god awful smelling, but they don't smell it because they've been around it for so long. I think the same kind of context comes into play with that. Is, you've seen so many people and you've helped so many people. I have the same trouble. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing. I know what you're going through. I couldn't even. It's hard for me to even bear witness, to be honest. It's very hard to not ask you and call you every day, because I know that all that's going to do is just create more of a negative around that stigma, instead of doing and sharing like we've been, to create the positive spin side and hope that things get resolved with a positive end. So Professor, you're being a little quiet down there. I know I talk too much. I guess it's just nobody wants to talk over me, but it's okay. So let's talk a little bit about your end in life.
I mean, I think for me personally, my biggest tragedy and that I've made the most positive out of is probably my divorce. And I know I'm young, as everybody can tell, I'm young, and I've already gone through that. I've gone through it once. I had so much hatred in my heart, in my head, in my body. I had so much hatred after that, regardless of the circumstances of what happened. Um, but since then, I kind of took a back seat. I opened up my eyes. I have become a better person, a better man, a better father from that. Um, you know, I think the way society is these day and ages, you go through a divorce, you can't, if you even if you have kids, in which I do, I have two. You guys have seen them. Um,
Absolutely.
society makes it seem as if you got to hate her now. You got to hate your ex or him, for females. But that's not it. That's not it at all. My ex wife and I are now almost, I wouldn't say best of friends, but we probably, I hate to say it, I really do, but we probably parent better together apart than we did when we were together. And I really hate that society makes it to be that you have to hate the ex. And like I said, that's probably what's made me a better person in general. The best I am now, was that I have, I've had trials in the military, coming out of the military. Um, we all have, and where you guys have touched on that, I figured I'd touch on, something, because it happened after.
Right.
It wasn't in the military. Did the military play a part on it? I probably. I you look at stats as far as marriage in the military, in and out. It's not good. It's
Yeah.
not good at all. And uh, it's I like where I'm at now. Yeah, I do. I like where I'm at, and I don't want people to think they need to. That's my biggest message. Is you don't. You might end up hating her. You might end up hating him, but you don't need to, because if you show that hate on the outside, your kids are gonna pick up on it, and
Yeah.
they're gonna not necessarily hate one another, but later on down the road, they may treat their other like that,
Right.
and that's my biggest message I want to put out to people. I know it's not necessarily military related, but we're not all about military. We're about
But do
life.
you feel that the fact that you learned how to be, I don't want to utilize the word compassionate, but to be empathetic, because when we go through boot camp, yeah, we're all the same, right? I get it. When we get out of boot camp, everybody goes back to their genuine person inside the military. We're all still different but same. So do you feel that when when you learned how to adapt from let's say boot camp, we're all the same, to back to real world, still inside the military, and then left the military, do you feel that that helped you in being empathetic to the situation between what you had going on? And it's not just for the kids, you're not doing it to be nice to the mom for the kids, you just, it's instilled in you that that's what you're doing because it's right. It might not be right for everybody, but for you and her, that relationship to be there and still be strong enough to support each other through parenting, that's huge.
I think honestly, as we all do, I personally need to be more empathetic in general. I didn't learn that, like, it didn't change. I've been a very uh feelingless person, always have been. Being able to take the back seat, and taking a step back and looking at it from that perspective is what really opened up my eyes. Um, you know, it. because I was the same person throughout everything. I've always been that same person, but I'm usually that happy-go-lucky. But when it comes down to the empathy part and whatnot, it's not there. It's non-existent for me. I I wish it was the other way around, but
Right.
I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with emotions in general. The only thing that I typically ever get emotional about is a TV show and it deals with kids, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
I can't take it. No, I will sit there and bawl my eyes out.
I listen, that's just part of being empathetic. It really is. So
Yeah.
I know Annette has to go here soon, and we're going to keep going a little bit longer because, like I said, we started late. That was my issues, but life, it happens. You just got to roll with it. So what I want Annette to do is I just want her to tell us a little bit what a wild ride called life is about. Let everybody's community. I mean, listen, we're on Mountain Up's page, we're on the Savage Pop Tarts Twitch, we're on my Twitch, we're on Professor's Twitch. We're on Team Pando on Facebook. I mean, we're everywhere. We're hitting a platform you've never hit yet outside of sponsoring my show. So the world wants to know what you're about, what it is that you do, and the new book that you have coming out that you're writing now. I mean, the world needs to know. It's pressing news. We need to know.
I'm just a person who is trying to show others that there's hope, because I know how it's been. I know how it feels to be. Let me backtrack. I'm also a suicide attempt survivor. Okay, like 3 times. So I know how it feels to be in that deep, dark place. I I want people to be able to see that, we can turn our mess into our message. And I only heard that term 2 years ago, and I was like, that is absolutely it. And I'm going to use it. And that's what I'm going to try to show people, is that we can. I mean, I've been through, from the age of 10, sexually assaulted, and all the way into the military, and then, car accident, all these laundry lists of things. But it took that car accident for me to finally realize that I was still here for a reason. And so this is why, I do what I do, is because I want to provide hope. So I do. I share. A Wild Ride Call Live is a platform to help you find your voice, and strength to share your story and to believe that you have one. I've had so many people tell me that I want to write a blog for you, but I don't have anything to write. I want to be on your podcast, but I don't really have a story to tell. And you do. You absolutely do. We talked for 5 minutes, and I'm like, that's it right there. Like, you have a story. You are, you're validated. You're here for a reason. You're all these things. And so, I know I can't save the world, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try through every platform that I possibly can, because if I survived, you can do it. And that's really what it is. I never knew what my blog name was going to turn out to be. I just knew that was my life. It was wild and crazy. And, I'm still here, and I'm raising an 18 and 20-year-old, and I just want to provide hope for people. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I love how this is why we do this. It was why we do it live. It's why we don't record it and edit it and make it all pretty, because what we go to compel is the real, the raw, the connections that we have with everybody around us. It needs to not be portrayed like a soap opera or like a televised thing, because people can spot fakeness. People can spot the things that, you could be saying one thing, but really you mean something over here, and people can spot that. And what that comes down to then is it's the ability to be genuine. Like, you are as far as we've discussed since the Veteran Social Summit and how much we've talked and what I know that you have going on. I mean, you are such a genuine person that, you know, it inspires me to be a better genuine person. Like, I'm still growing through my difficulties to be a better person. And, you know, you've done it. You've provided hope to somebody, to multiple people. If you reached one person, you did what you intended to do. Reaching multiple people is just the bonus. That's the ride. You did it. You made it. So, you know, keep doing what you're doing.
And I will say, can I just add one thing?
Yeah, brother.
I was unaware of missing that until the Veteran Social Summit, and the things that she was willing to speak about and be transparent about kind of reinforced in my head that the you know, the my dark times and some of the things I go through, it reinforced the idea that someone else is winning and going through it worse than you are, and they're still winning. So there's no excuse to give up on yourself. There's no excuse. You know, we all can say no self-pity. Yeah, we all do it. But
Yeah.
you can't allow yourself to be absolutely just sucked in and drowned with self-pity, and just get up and get it done. And I appreciate you, Miss Annette. I really do, because that was insane. It's just that you don't. I can go all day, but it's insane. Thank you.
You're gonna see a Pop-Tart cry to day one.
I'm gonna change my name to the Not So Savage Pop-Tart, or the Positive Pop-Tart.
Today I'm going to be empathetic Pop-Tart.
I'm always
flavor.
empathetic.
That's the flavor today. We ain't savage today. We empathetic.
Savagely empathetic. There we go.
Absolutely.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Do you have anything to say, Josh? Or I'm sorry, Professor. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying it. I caught myself though. I got to the J. All right.
Just call him Babyface.
There you go. Hey. Hey.
No, I don't have nothing to add on. I unfortunately was not able to check into the summit. I was working that day. Just like, it's a good thing we went late today, because I literally messaged Pop-Tart at like 10 minutes before, and I'm like, I got to shovel my driveway to get into my driveway.
Professor Postman got to dig his own driveway out. That's messed up, man. That ain't right. So
I got to walk through it all day, and then I come home and I got to shovel it. That's why I have no pity when I drop off them bills.
That's this is what happened. You went empathetic Pop-Tart, and Professor just went savage. He just pulled that out. You know, it's that realness. So, if you had anything to say to people right now, Miss Annette, as you're about to sign off, and we're going to continue a little bit longer, what would be your go-to, I don't even want to use the word motto, but that refreshing set of words that you whisper in people's ear to let them know they're worth it?
The two that I've been seriously living by for the past 2 years is, and I know one of them is going to sound cliche, but I live by it, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to step back. It's okay to, you know, I know we feel pressure with trying to be on a live or trying to get a podcast out on the day that it's supposed to be out. You know what? It's okay. You know, like, we put too much pressure on ourselves, and we need to give ourselves more grace. And I think that's the biggest part. And your message. I mean, it really is. So, you know, Pop-Tart, you went through some stuff, but now you're here and you're doing this and you're still smiling. And, you know, it's okay to have those days, but you're making your mess into a message. And I think that's the hugest thing. That's the biggest thing we need to do and remember. Okay, I went through really hard shit. I personally have been through some shit in the past 3 weeks, but God, and not everybody believes in God, God was good. And whoever we believe in, we need to learn that it's happening for us, not to us.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. Well, Miss Annette, it was an absolute pleasure being on the show. When we we'll repost this video as a video, we might edit it, we might not. We'll see what goes on. We'll see what my boy in Pop-Tart wants to do with it, since he does that extra special spin on things, and I appreciate what he does about it. We'll see what goes on, you know. So, but other than that, Miss Annette, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for your time today. I'm sorry that we're late.
No, okay. I'm
It's
sorry.
like 5 degrees in southern Texas, and it's just not right. It shouldn't be this way.
We don't have
weird.
those problems in Virginia. We're good.
Yeah, like y'all's
you want that,
infrastructure is
10 inches
situated.
of snow? I can send it down too.
I mean, at this point, I might as well. So it is what it is. But Miss Annette, thank you. Do me a favor before you leave. I'd already dropped your Facebook link. If you can just drop a couple other links right there in chat for me before you drop out of here. I'm gonna pull you out of the video part, but if you can just drop everything in the main, I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Miss
much for
Annette.
having.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye bye. Oh man, dude, I I love when we have people on here that have gone through good times and bad times, and they're always so refreshing. It's always so good to know that there's still good people out there.
Indeed.
We're going to talk a little bit about what I got going on and what I had going on. And it's just, I still a little struggle with it today, but I really feel that this is something that society needs to, if I can say it like this, they need to unfudge themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's not okay to be like this. So the things that most of society, especially the community that around us, they don't know. A week ago, this past Saturday. Well, let's go this way. Imagine you're a man that's striving to provide for his family. Okay. You're a man that's trying to do everything that is imaginably possible just to get back to work. That's your entire job. Is just, I want to get back to work. I want to provide. My wife's working, kids got a job. Now it's my turn to get things fixed and get back to work. And for 9 months, you scrimped and saved, and you spent 16 hours rebuilding a transmission because you had to pull it apart twice because you forgot one part and everything else. And finally, when you get everything situated and you take it for a test drive, in mere seconds, you're standing there watching this thing you built burn to the ground. Literally. I still have yet to figure out, and I have some ideas of what went on, but I still have no idea how driving it around the block left me with a shell of a truck in my front yard. And it broke me. It broke me really bad because here's why. I started my first business in that truck. Okay. Way before I had a kid or anything like that. Well, she was like a year or two old at that point, but I started my first business in that. I drove my daughter around in that because I was a weekend warrior. I wasn't, I first off, I didn't put in enough effort to be more than that. But when you have an entire family fighting against you and you have to fight pretty much solely yourself versus an entire family to see your kid, it takes a lot of energy out of you. But I wasn't the person that I am today. And, I met my wife in that truck. I've done so much out of that one vehicle to stand there and just, I couldn't do nothing. No hose could reach because I had to put it somewhere the second that I heard fire. I knew it was done. So I had to put it somewhere where nobody's property was going to get damaged, where, no kids could come running out of a house thinking it's cool and like the gas tank explodes and hurts anybody. And, so you're standing there, and of course I live, 20 minutes outside of town. It took, 15 to 20 minutes for the fire department to get there, but it's not their fault because it's a volunteer fire department. It's not like everybody was in the firehouse on call waiting for a call that day, But what was really tragic about it is as I see the two tanker trucks pull up, because there's no fire hydrants by me, my neighbor Brad comes hauling ass out when he's the one that told me it was on fire. He went back in his house and is in full fireman gear. I'm talking face shield, I'm talking jacket, boots, pants, like he's ready to go. And here's what happens. Some dude that has nothing on takes hose lead in front of my buddy Brad, who's geared to go in and with his PPE. And watching all this go down and watching how slow they're reacting, knowing my grandfather was a firefighter for 33 and a half years. And I've heard umpteen stories, and I've seen firefighter training. I've been through fire training in the military. So I know about like what size cone needs to be for what fire. And I understand how you got to attack certain fires a specific way. And I'm just not happy with what went down. But the difference is it took me about 2 days to really process that loss. Like I shut down. I told everybody on social media, I'm going away, leave me alone, which was, it was the wrong way to go about it, but it was the right thing to do because I didn't want somebody to spark something and I would project my negativity that I had and my anger and my hurt on somebody that might have been looking for, something to lift them up and build, give them hope. So really, this is my story right now. This is the best thing that I can tell you guys is, a phoenix always rises from the ashes. I will have a truck again. I will get back to work. Fire does not stop me. The world does not stop me. The only thing that stops me is me. And I really feel that that's the lesson that we're talking about, tragedy to triumph, is the only thing that can get in your way is you. You're the one that has to identify the problem that you're going through. Just like you did, Pop Tart, just like you did, Professor. Like you guys identified that there was a situation and you either need to do one of two things, this way or this way. And you both still chose the positive route. Professor, you're still talking with the ex and being great parents for both of your kids. I mean, heck, I saw him a couple of days ago last week before we did our first podcast. Like, can I be on the camera? I mean, that is great. That's healthy. That lets they want to be a part of what you're doing, Dad. And the same thing for Pop Tart goes. You could have answered the phone that day, but it might not have stopped him. And that's just a reality that people have to live in. I've had friends that called numerous people that they didn't pick up the phone, and they still wonder if they would have picked up the phone, would they still be alive? Well, when a person that's in a place like this, no matter what, they've pretty much made the decision up. There's almost no hope for them in their mind. I'm not saying from our standpoint, I'm saying from the psyche of them, to go through something so negative that they felt that, it's not worth. I mean, we've all been through anything and everything. Like my trials and tribulations aren't the same as yours, Pop Tart. You know what I mean? And yours aren't the same as Professor. So we can't come at it with the same bullshit that the health organizations and that the VA and that the government, they're trying to sit
There's
there.
no cookie-cutter fix for it.
There's not.
It doesn't exist.
It's literally just like what we were talking about with the gentleman that we had the pre-meeting with on Monday. Was, they stack veterans all in one all in one little capsule. Like we're all the same, and we're not. Non-combat veterans, American side veterans, and then combat veterans are completely different people. And you have to come about their mental health and their mental wellness and their physical wellness from a complete different angle of per person, not even per type, just per person. And I think what happens is what I think might be good for you, Pop Tart or Professor, could be the worst thing, because
for somebody else.
My viewpoint is, well, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Why don't you get out of it? Like, why can't you pull yourself out of it? And it pulls me to a story that I heard. I'm pretty sure I told both of you this once, but the story starts off with a veteran that's going through a dark time, and he starts digging a hole. And in that hole, he starts feeling better. So he digs further down, and he digs further down because he thinks he's doing himself a service, because he feels like he's doing something. He's moving somewhere, but really he's just burying himself. Then he gets to the point where he looks up and realizes he can't get out. And all the world's doing is just passing him by. And all they're doing up there is just looking down going, well, how did he get down there? Why doesn't he climb out? Why did he put himself there in the first place? And I mean, literally, that's society. You love your badass Pando Commando t-shirt? That's awesome, Lisa. I appreciate it.
We're glad you
And
love it.
you know, and it's funny because as society keeps passing by people and just wondering, like, first off, they never reached out and said, hey, do you need a hand? Do you need help? Like, they just kept, it's just like now everybody grabs their phones and records instead of potentially becoming the assistance that that person was needing that day. And then here comes a veteran, walks by, sees dude down there, and jumps down. And then the dude down there starts panicking. He's like, what? Now you're stuck down here with me. Why did you do that? And the veteran that jumped down said, you know, brother or sister, depending on who or what you're telling the story to, I've been here and I know the way out. And I think that that really stems to what needs to happen in this world as a society, civilians and veterans alike. You know, have that courage and strength to just, are you all right today? Like, are you good? Like, Pop-Tart, you called me today. You say, hey, man, you good? I mean, I could be better, but, you know, we're living. I got food. I got heat. My water's completely turned off right now, but that's just because the infrastructure of Texas down here has no clue about doing anything. But the fact is he reached out, you know, and what was the next thing that I said, Pop-Tart? Because I was driving, I said, yo, can you get a hold of Joshy? Is he good? I'm sorry,
good.
Professor, but is he good? Because I know he was out there in the mail and like freaking, it's like your grandparents. I walked uphill both ways in the snow. So, well, you don't even know what the professor does. So shut that shit off, you know? And so that was because I was driving and I couldn't, you know, I didn't want to say, you know, here I am texting and driving and, you know, half an inch of ice trying to get, you know, everybody home. I was concerned about everybody. I mean, I want everybody here to know you can message Team Pando. You can message Pop-Tart through Twitch's Whisper or his Facebook page. You can do the same thing with Professor. You can do the same thing with Miss Annette. Anybody. If you're even having the inkling of a bad day, reach out to somebody, even if it's just to say, hey, how you doing? What's going on in life? All this stuff. Everything. Like, we care. We want to know. Like, if you're in the Twitch chat right now, either me, Pop-Tarts, or Professors, and I'm pretty sure if you type in exclamation Discord, somebody's Discord is going to pop up, and you can link it to everybody else's, and somebody is always online to talk to you. I'm not saying they're going to be the greatest person because you just don't know sometimes, but the majority of our community is really good people, and they will stay up all night to talk with you. If you're feeling like you're in a dark place, you need to talk to somebody. You can't battle this alone. When you go out, like Pop-Tart, when they drop you off in the helicopter, right? The whole reason you got the name Pop-Tart, you weren't alone, right?
Hell no.
Hell no. You were with a team or bigger. The same thing. Well, Professor, you were a smaller group that went out, but you still never went alone, right? Right. So why do people feel that it's okay to battle all of this? It breaks the ideals that we were beat with. Don't go it alone.
I was just about to say, but also the counter to that is just how society has made it. And for, you know, no other reason than ourselves believing it too. Like, oh, you have to have machismo. You can't show weakness. You got to be the man, got to be the dude 24/7. Like, no, that's not feasible. I've seen some of the strongest people break down like an old rusty shotgun. You know, You need we all need someone, you know, and then to kind of backpack off of that, you know, talk, but you can talk to people, but just make sure you're also receptive. Make sure if you're going to talk to someone, make sure it's not a one phone call. You know, like, you have to be able to receive that information, communicate that information, and just be oh, well. Yeah, you just got to be open.
I got you, Pop-Tart. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's just like this podcast. If you're watching and you just want to ask a question, swing away. That's it. Like, we've hit the key points that we wanted to in the show, and we'd really like to hear back from you. What do you feel that this is or that is. Like, you know, a lot of us, some of us aren't veterans. So from a civilian point of view, what is, you know, what is the thought processes is if you see somebody suffering, or if you even just, I mean, have you ever just been at the store and the dude's wearing, like, I'm wearing a 10th Mountain hat, even though I'm not 10th Mountain. I'm 10th Mountain by association. Don't judge me. I'm Navy man. But let's say they're wearing a Korean hat or a Vietnam hat or Iraqi war veteran or just any and all of those, some type of military garb-esque something. And you just see him and he opens up his wallet and he'll just drop his head. Like, he knows he wants to buy more and can't. What goes on inside you? You know, do you feel like, oh, I wish I could do something for that man, or oh, that poor man? Or would you, if you knew that you were in a good spot, would you offer to see if there's anything you can help? Like, I've done it all the time. We'll be at like Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, right? And we'll find out what the person ordered behind us, whether it doesn't matter who it is, and I just make their day and I'll buy their donuts. You know, you have no idea how doing that minute task, that little thing, and how much it springboards people into doing better. So, but it's like, why? I remember growing up, it was all about a sense of community. Everything was about know thy neighbor. If your neighbor's kids were hungry and they've been playing with your kids all day, what are you going to do? Professor, if let's say your kids were like 12, 13 years old and all the neighbor kids were playing over in your backyard and it was time for your kids' lunch, what would you do?
I bring them in personally.
Yeah,
I've had issues with that exact issue before. Just the neighbor kids right over there. You know, they come over and they play. They're not, let's just say they're not parented properly. They're not respectful. And when it's time to come in for lunch, when it's time to come in for a nap, when it's time to come in for the night because it's too dark, they're coming in. It's not, you know, I'm not doing it to be a bad parent. I'm doing it because it's a structure.
right.
And part of that maybe because of the military. Most of it is. But you know, it creating a structure for them helps throughout the day, helps in life. It helps build their character too, in a way.
Absolutely. I mean, even the littlest thing that you're doing, like, I mean, I literally, it's funny. I did it with my buddy Brad's kid. He decided to mouth off a little bit one day, and I'm like, hey, buddy, guess what? You just earned yourself a day of really hard work. And I have a property over here. I talked with a neighbor. He wants to demo down. He wants some stuff out of it, so we just did a little bit on the inside, and I gave him a 20-ounce hammer. I told him, you need to start knocking this drywall out, right? So all day, this kid's just making a complete and utter mess, and I come in around lunchtime, and I went, you know what? Here, let me show you a better way to do it. And I showed him how to, like, knock it out as a big square and just pull it down in one big sheet. It never dawned on him to think that way. And it's not anything against my neighbors. They're great parents. Their kids are pretty respectful, except for the one that just, he gets wily. You know what I mean? Like, he's that wily coyote of a kid. The other two kids are pretty much down to earth, and he's just that little bit of a crazy one. And they said that next day, that night, he crashed, and that next day, perfect kid. Now, of course, he's back to his old things, but obviously something clicked into his head for that momentary part. You know, it'd be the same thing as, you know, if Pop-Tart were to see the neighbor kids and they're looking a little hungry. You know what I mean? But you knew their parents and you knew their parents are struggling. I know, I can guarantee you my man would go buy some groceries and put that bad boy at their front door and not even say nothing. Because I know that's the kind of person. Well, we all are, but you're in an apartment building kind of deal, so you have a little bit easier than we do, if I recall correctly. So, I mean, I know you would do that in a heartbeat, not even in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and no one would ever know about it. Is my mic okay, by the way?
You're good now. You're good. It was
Okay.
just, I think it was just picking up like a fan frequency or something. But yeah, you're good now. You're
That's
good. I think
nice.
it might have been like a level limiter kind of deal, is letting it peak too much in the gain. But, you know, but yeah, I mean, like for me, when I grew up, now I didn't grow up poor. Fix, I appreciate you, brother. Man, you know me and you, we go back a ways. We've been, there you go. I like to go out when I receive my VA compensation. I'll buy for single mother with kids once a month, dude. That's it, brother. That's it. That's that sense of community of knowing that you're at least making an impact on somebody because you have the ability to do so. That's like, I love watching your streams, man. I loved it when you were doing the Walking Dead VR. It was great. It's the little things that we do in life. Most people don't pick up on because they're not used to it. My wife used to be, she didn't understand why I enjoyed the littlest things, even just taking my daughter to the store to buy orange soda, because she didn't understand that was our thing. That's what I did every time I picked her up. Is we went to the store, she got a 20-ounce thing of Sunkissed orange soda, and I would get my soda and we would drink it. Now I'm not saying that was the healthiest thing to do, because whatever, but you know that was our thing. Or it took her 2 years to let me do the dishes because she was a single mother and she's so used to doing everything herself. It was difficult letting that go. And I think as a community, we've lost that. Not even in just veterans or civilians. I mean, just almost worldwide. It's so much easier to watch somebody struggle and record them struggling than it is to have the courage to put in the work and go help that person. Go ask if your neighbor is okay. Go, if you see your neighbor's kid fall down and they don't come running out because they didn't see it, of course you're going to go outside and make sure your neighbor kid's okay, as long as you have that relationship. So, you know,
That's
I
just like
really,
right now. I mean, I said earlier when I messaged Pop Tart that my plow guy hadn't made it back yet, or made it here yet, but in reality, my plow guy is just my neighbor because he saw that when the winter started, snowblower was working. Just like last year, snowblower was working, then it just stopped, and I kind of just gave up. So I didn't. It did the same thing this year, and then I was out shoveling. Me and the kids were out shoveling. Well, I was shoveling, they were playing, but regardless,
right.
we were out shoveling, and ever since then, he plows my yard because he's got a snowblower, plus he's also got a side by side with a plow on it,
Yeah.
and like I can hear him in the background now. He's out there plowing because he saw that I not necessarily that I was in need, but I was out. I would like
He
today.
was
I went out
compelled to do what he thought was right.
right because and he works all day too. So I mean, it's very compelling. I know he works all day. I know right where he works, and because I delivered mail. But regardless, um, yeah, I mean he knows that I was struggling all day out in the winter weather that we've been having, and instead of um, watching me struggle out there, breaking my back even more. Um, he saw I was out there this morning. When I was out there, I shoveled out the edge of the driveway, and he came over. He did his yard first, no big deal, because I was able to get my car in the garage, and now I
Right.
can hear him out there plowing. It saves me all the backache and the stress of knowing that typically it would take me 2 hours to shovel my driveway.
And now it just takes a man 15 minutes and you go, oh. But you appreciate it. You know what I mean?
I do, and
You
I've
you
already
could go
gotten him.
out there, yeah.
I've already gotten him. I've just about every. I don't do it every time he does it, but like same thing as Fix said. Every time I get my check, I drop him a our local coffee shop gift card,
Yeah.
in his mailbox. I'm sure he knows where it's coming from. I don't try to hide it. I don't put a thank you card in there as well, but I always go out there and say thank you. Just like my son always wants to go out there and say thank you because he's making the hills bigger and better to slide on.
Heck yeah. No, absolutely. And but the thing is one, your kids are seeing that and they'll remember. They'll know that, oh, the neighbor helps daddy. and daddy puts something in the neighbor's mailbox as a thank you. Like, people don't realize kids see that connection. Kids see when you're being good or bad, shisty, negative, positive, and they feed off that, and they feel compelled to be that person. So if you're around a person, a mother and father figure that are always negative and screaming and yelling and drinking alcohol, most likely you're going to want to be that way because that's the way you were brought up. And it'll take you, once you're cognitive of that situation, it'll take you to that point. And then that'll be the decision if you're going to be like your dad or not. Like my dad, the one that created me, my grandmother called him the wandering Jew. He was a wandering nomad because he would go from job to job to job to job to job. Now, of course, 9 times out of 10, every job was a step up, but he never stayed anywhere very long. And then my dad, who I consider my father, is my stepdad. And yeah, we didn't have the greatest relationship right off the bat. Like even into my late teens and early 20s, we just didn't see eye to eye. Once we got over that my childhood issues, he helped me become who I am, being a better stepfather or step parent to my wife's kids, because I saw he didn't have to care for me. He didn't have to buy me clothes. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. I mean, I carry his last name. He adopted me. I carry his last name. And, that was huge to me because, my dad was pretty much forced out and wasn't allowed to really see me. And I just didn't learn that until I was, like late 20s, early 30s. Like I didn't know any of this. And me and my mom talked, and it came to fruition. And, these are the things that, we go from tragedy to triumph is, okay, well, he could have tried harder, but then again, I could have tried harder, so that domino effect, as it comes from a child's perspective and up until teenager, young adult, and adult, everything is going to be wrapped around a decision that you made. Like, what was Mike's decision once he got out of the military, or Pop-Tart's decision once he got out of the military to become better? Like every day work on yourself every day. Cause he could have just been that dude that sits around with a cigar and whiskey and muscles out to his freaking shoulders and everything, and just been a complete douche canoe, but he didn't. But I'm right. Cause that's what every other company is trying to portray veterans are. And this is why we do what we do, because we're not like that. We're down to earth. We don't care about what our image is in comparison to what we want our image to portray.
I want to leave a positive impact.
Yeah,
being a douche canoe ain't the way.
It's not. I mean, it can be to sell coffee. And who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about.
Shots.
So, but I get it, and it works. No big deal. But so a couple of things that we can talk about before we end the show is let's swing it into gaming. Let's swing it into, it's literally like, Professor, you remember me and you, we were playing Road Company, and that little kid came in, just started screaming the N-word, thinking it was the funniest thing ever. And then, of course, the first thing we do is like, dude, you shouldn't be talking like this. It's not right. It's not respectful. And then he thought it was so funny that it was okay to talk like this over chat. I want to know if you caught your kid, like if you just happened to walk past his bedroom and he was saying something derogatory, maybe not that word.
My belt, but I would show you what I would. No,
but
I wouldn't do it like that. But
what I'm saying though is, yeah, like what would have you? I'm not saying like what would you have done, because we all know what we would do. Somebody would get a cracking. All right, I got beat with a wooden spoon to the point where I broke that wooden spoon. All right, and that wooden spoon had a hole in it, so it stung more. All right, at least that's what my mom said and dad said, so whatever. I laughed the first like 3 times, and then my dad came in and so like Pop-Tart, how would you have handled that situation where French breadboard, dude, I feel you. I've been there. I've been there. How would you either, let's say, from a parental side, like if you heard your kid when, of course, when you have one, but how would you have reacted? Or what would you do or say to potentially change some? Like if somebody came into your chat and just acted a complete fool, what would your first thought be? To ban them and completely block them? Or would you try to figure out like why they're acting out, like why they're doing this attention seeking stuff? I'm kind of curious where you would go.
I'm gonna keep it a whole 100. They're getting the ban. I'm not asking you any questions. If you're old enough to have a Twitch account, you're old enough to know right from wrong. You know what I mean? And especially like come on now. The times we live in with the movements, the movements and things going on. Come on now, you know what's acceptable. If you're not willing to walk up to somebody and say that to them without fear of being knocked into the next dimension, then don't hop in somebody's chat.
Then don't type it.
Yeah, don't type it. Don't speak it because you're on a microphone. Yeah, come on, man. Like, stop it. We're all and that's what kills me is that's just. But you know what? Social media and these platforms give cowards a platform to be cowards. So. It is what it is. I used to get mad back in the day, like when I was playing Call of Duty and somebody just drops it. You're just like, now I just laugh because I'm like, man, you're sad.
Yeah, you're that ignorant that you don't even understand why I'm even laughing at you at this point.
Just like, bro, come up with something new. Jeez, make me laugh at least.
I had something very similar to that happen the other day. It was in the pregame in Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty has pregame, and I'm just like, nope, I'm down. I bounced out. I'm not gonna. And I wasn't even streaming at the time. I was off stream, but I'm just not gonna subject myself to that. There's no need of it.
There's not, and I want to know why that people think that this is the norm. Like this is okay. Like why like if you were to follow the transition from like let's say 1995, right? I'm gonna let you answer this here in a second, but let's say we can see the toxicity from 1995. Let's say like I mean we're talking like AOL chat, starting from that dial-up day, right? And then you look at it now. Look at how much it's advanced and how much trouble you would have gotten in back in the let's say the late 90s, the early 2000s. Now we're into 2021 where it's almost praised to be this way because you're going to be seen and your video is going to go viral. How do we counteract that as content creators and veterans and in the civilian world and as everything of what we are? What is your best outside of the typical just bye, get out of my life? Like if you were to like I have a trouble when I'm walking around Walmart and some kid's just screaming at the top of his lungs, cussing his mom out. I just yell out there, somebody needs to beat that kid. So I'll come smack your kid. Not would I? No. But I'm addressing a situation that you need to handle that because you're allowing your kid to be reckless in a store or in a situation that it shouldn't be. So where are you at on that? Because I see you.
It's just there's no fear. There's no fear of repercussions anymore. Growing up,
most people don't have repercussions now.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you could say what you wanted to say at somebody at school, but you might have to see them after school
when that bell rings.
3:00 parking lot or the park. Let's make it happen. Yeah.
And then just to trying to drive it home, like look at what we're dealing with now is. Nobody, how often do you actually see people outside playing football in the streets?
Almost never anymore.
Everything's digital, right?
Yep.
So now you take that, put that online, the angst and things of that nature. It's just really no fix. You can only hope that, somebody gets caught and their parents address it. But other than that, there's no fix. Because, at the end of the day, like I said, I grew up in the era, not that I perpetuate, in any way, shape, or form, or saying, "Oh, violence is the answer." But growing up, if you could say what you wanted to say to someone, but you were going to be held accountable for what you just said. But other than that, there's none of that anymore. People don't fight anymore. Unfortunately, they turn to other more destructive means, which is even crazier.
Well,
but
it's not even that they don't fight. So, and I'm only squeaking this from you for a quick second, is back in the day, especially like in my day, which is usually a Wednesday. That was a joke. You could have problems with people, and you just go outside, you swing hands, and then the problem's solved. You know what I mean? Like if it comes to that point, y'all do get out, winner, whatever, and then you just go. Like everybody shakes hands and they go their separate ways, and it's over. Nowadays, it's like if a person has a problem with another person, that person's group jumps this person because they feel offended because they offended their friend. And we've all seen this. It's been everywhere. It's been the situation of bullying. It's not one-on-one anymore.
Nah, shit.
It's multiple on one.
Nowadays it turns into the usage of fire, it's there's no hands. It's pretty bad.
It's words.
Yeah.
It's words, and that actually creates a more of an impact. That's why, like, I've had tons of kids, and I'm talking. I mean, yeah, okay, don't judge me. I used to play Fortnite, but I was doing a test, and I would have kids come in, and they're like, "Hey, can I play Fortnite with you?" I'm like, "Sure, dude, whatever, man. Like, I'm all right. You're probably better than me because I can't stand this game, but let's have some fun." And they'll be saying like, "Yeah, I was in there and I was talking with such and such a streamer or whatever. He's not real big, but he's just treating me horrible because I'm a young kid." And I felt compelled to be like, "Dude, I'm sorry that you feel that way, that somebody unjustly was rude to you. I don't know if you compelled them to do something, but man, you're more than welcome to hang out here. This is a relatively safe community that all three of us have put together." So, and then like more kids would show up, and it felt good to know that I was giving them a positive environment to just be in, because you don't know if their mom and dad are fighting in another room and they're seeking that something to get into, so they don't hear that, like to drown it out. And a lot of people just don't realize what goes on in the backgrounds of everybody else's life. Like you don't know that I'm battling frozen pipes, and you don't know that I'm battling this or battling that, right? I mean, unless I tell you. So we can't prejudge people by their actions, because they may be acting out because they need help and they don't know how to ask for help, or they feel compelled that it's just wrong to even feel this way. It's just like the military's been doing it too. Like the military, I'm not saying military in a whole, but people will harass you because you feel the need to go talk to a psychiatrist or even just go see the doctor. See, I know I'm hitting that subject, and and it's the same thing with young kids and young adults, especially in a social media platforms like that we have. It's not easy to ask for help because they feel that they're going to get ridiculed for it, or they're going to get bullied for it, or they're going to get made fun of, or it's not like back in our day where you get pantsed or swirlied or whatever. Nowadays it's a constant barrage 24/7, because these people will jump on your social media stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, to make matters worse, like now if you get pantsed or a swirly in the bathroom, somebody's recording it.
Like,
and
yeah,
instead
like
of you just getting it, it's going to 10,000 people all across. Like, I couldn't imagine being a youth in today's time with social media. Boy, it'd be horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be if I had a choice, which thankfully I do because I'm an adult. But I would not. And it's funny because like I used to make fun of my daughter. She was still an adult at this time. She was about 18, 19, and she was always taking fucking selfies and posting them everywhere. And I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, you're not making any sense whatsoever. Like, you're personing this fake life that everything's all sunshines and lollipops and rainbows. And then as she got older and she realized, she still does it, but she doesn't do it why she did it before. Like, she does it because she wants to show that her and her boyfriend are celebrating, you know, another day of being happy together. Like, to me, that is awesome. But when people take it to that point where it's not, it's toxic, I feel that when you come from the video game standpoint and then it unleashes into social media, because I know that there's people that could go, okay, well, I know your Twitch name and I could hack into this and I could find all this stuff and find everything about your community. We've seen it happen to streamers. We've seen streamers getting swatted. We've seen streamers getting stuff shipped to them that they didn't want because they didn't even know, nobody knows their personal addresses. So when is it time to just be like, enough's enough? Like, whose role is that to take? I know we don't have the answer for that.
Yeah,
We don't have the credentials either. We're not psychologists, but I mean, I know that there's people out there battling this every day. Every day,
and that's unfortunate, you know, because there's no easy fix. It's
none.
You know, I literally just kind of chalk it up to. I'm not even going to chalk it up to maturity levels. It's just one of those things that, hey, you know, it's like, I don't want to say it'll get better when it gets better, but damn it, there's really there's no answer to it.
It's just got to work itself out, and that's the most depressing thing, I think, if you would have to tell a kid that's getting bullied, that is just searching for that, there's some kind of hope that at the end it'll all stop, and it won't. It never does, because you could sit there and you can be, I mean, I got bullied for every day for 10 years straight, every day, all day. Like, it was just another day, you know, and I still sit here and, you know, I wonder, I'm like, well, what would my life have been if I would have been one of the cool kids, or if I would have, you know, started making fun of the other kids so I could be with the cool kids. And in reality, I'm glad I'm not, because that means I'm a better person. Like, I rose above that bullshit. Yeah, I took on the torment, but it made me, it gave me tougher skin. It made me be
that, you know, and the fact that your ability to draw happiness within yourself didn't come at the expense of somebody else's happiness.
Exactly. And I'll never understand why that's so appealing to people.
Because it's easy to do. It's easy to make fun of somebody, get a couple laughs, people like you. It's hard to address the fact that your mom and dad just split up, you're by yourself, you're lonely, nobody talks to you at home. You can't talk to people about that, especially you can't even, I couldn't even imagine a child being able to articulate that properly, you know? So it's a whole lot easier to be an emotional vampire to somebody rather than be able to, you know, tell it like it is, like, hey, I'm really going through this. And then again, what kid is equipped, like, say that kid's friend, what kid is equipped to actually receive that information? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because all they're going to do is, my friend's a dick. That's it. It's just going to become another status update on a social media platform that nobody's going to give a shit about. That's what it all comes down to now in this day and age. It's like, you know, I see kids and they fall into video games because it makes them feel good. And it's the same thing that I did. I fell into video games because it made me feel good. But the difference is back then you still had the ability to be human to human interaction. You still had the ability to go outside and play with your friends. You still had the ability to go to school and not, you know, not be just, I mean, you had the opportunity to. It has gotten worse, bullying, but you still had the opportunity to not have that situation present itself as easily as it was back then. It's always gotten a little bit better, and it almost seems like it goes through waves through the generations. You know, like as something calms down, something rises. So usually it comes down to where, like, as bullying was coming to a head, like, we were actually making headway with anti-bullying stuff. Then, you know, all these social media platforms get released, you know, Snapchat, KIK, I mean, just all of it. And then now it becomes, because your parents don't have access to this stuff because it's on your phone and you can hide it. Hell, half the time Snapchat just gets deleted. It's like you send a message and then boop, the second you click your phone, everything's gone. So there's no proof that something went down.
Imagine being a kid who's been bullied. He's getting bullied at school. Parents move. Bruh, you're still getting bullied through social media from people where you just left.
Yep.
No, thank you. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
I couldn't. I mean,
I'm good. Fuck. Nope.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. I couldn't. I wouldn't even want to be a parent of a friend whose kid is going through that. And I say that because what are you gonna look at the kid and just go, what? Like, what would you say to somebody at that point in time? You know, because you can't just be like, it'll get better, because we know from experience it doesn't. It'll end eventually from those people, but it'll begin on the adult side from other people. Your workspace. I mean, even as veterans, we all still, you know, there's the ones that are healthy and we mess with you and we call you effer and all that stuff, you know, and we joke around a little bit. But then there's just the ones that are just complete, just smash trash and just
douche canoes,
god awful people. And they're and this is justifiably okay because the society goes, oh, he's just a veteran. Oh, he's just active duty. Oh, he's a combat veteran. That's just how they are. But that's not how they are. And it's
Sam,
sad.
I'll give you the shirt off my back. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you my last favorite. Yeah. I'll give you my favorite band shirt, and my band shirts are sacred to me. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, and this is why I love doing this, because it's like exploring the psyche of a trio of vets with all coming from different backgrounds, different upbringings, and it's shedding light that the fact that, hey, bro, some of us are nerds, some of us aren't, some of us are happy, some of us aren't. You know, no two snowflakes are the same. That's probably a really, really, really horrible adage, but hey, whatever.
But no, I get, you're saying snowflake is an actual snowflake, not snowflake as in like these disingenuous people. No, I completely agree, because my life and my upbringing is completely different from yours, and everybody else is the entire world. There's no one person was brought up the same by the same ideals or the same morals or the same guidelines or goals as everybody else was. I guess the difference is as you become an adult is where did you take it? Where did you go with it? What did you do with what you were trying to be taught? And I love what we're doing here. I think chat loves what we're doing here. Our communities love what we're doing here. Outside of just what we stream and we game and we have fun and we act ridiculous and we just go nuts and all this stuff. I'm calling you, Chef. I'm calling you a snowflake. I'm calling you a snowflake. All right, I got you.
He said, "Catch my
it can get real quick."
Twisted Tea stocks had to have gone up. Jesus,
they had.
Did you check them? Did you see when that video dropped?
Oh, I guarantee it
through the roof.
Oh, it went nuts. Their sales went up and everything. And you know what the difference is?
Twisted Tea.
Do you know how proud I am that dude stood up to that guy? I could have cared less about anything else other than a good guy stood up to a bad guy that day. And it handled it. I think the second part of that video went a little too far because dude was already down, but I get it. It's just emotional and it became whatever. But I mean, that first instinct when I watched that video, I went,
oh no,
he deserved that.
It went too far with the first part, and he went too far because he wasted a perfectly delicious beverage on a douche canoe. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I mean, and then you can even transition into the ocean spray guy. I mean, this dude's truck broke down, and his thought was, I'm still going to record me still getting to work. I'll just take my longboard and my cranberry juice.
Tragedy to triumph.
And I mean, it's right. And look at how much his life changed. I haven't really kept up with it.
Yeah, you don't want to.
But and it's like, but still, I mean, without these people doing these remarkable things, evil keeps winning. And I say evil's even break it down into negativity. Negativity will always win if good and positivity doesn't stand up. And that's what we're here for, is to stand up for the people that can't, to give the voices to the people that are afraid to speak up. Because I don't have a problem. I'll tell you about every single problem I've ever had in my entire life, because I know what? At one point of a time, somebody needs to hear it. Like, I needed to hear Pop-Tart reaching out to me today. It made me feel so good to know that somebody cared. My grandmother called me today. And they're in Florida. They don't they're it's all warm and cozy in their big old house and whatever, and here I am in my little thing just trying to survive. And they care. People that care are the people that I like having around me. And that's what I really feel that what we're doing is letting people know, just like Annette said, it's okay to be broken. It's okay to be not okay. Am I okay right now? Hell no, I'm not okay right now. But I'm moving forward. I'm not feeling like I'm in a dark place. I'm just in a situation right now, everybody would call a sticky wicket or whatever, just because of weather. But I'm not allowing it to really ruin things that I've already built and accomplished. I mean, yeah, I was late. All right, write me up. Whatever, dude. It happens. But we still had Annette on here. She's still, I mean, guys, go check her Facebook, go check her website. She's doing amazing things. If you have a story to tell, even if you think it's the dumbest story in the world, share it. It's okay. It's okay to share things that you feel is your darkest, deepest secret, because you never know, it could save somebody else's life. It could that day. Your story could impact somebody to the point where they're just like, somebody's like me. I'm not alone. And it could compel that person to reach out and not do something negative to themselves.
Look, if you hit me up, I'm going to respond. So it's important to feel whatever's going on in your reality, but that sharing piece is vital. Yeah,
exactly.
It's I'm so jealous. Chef might have to get banned with that 3 feet of sunshine comment. Jeez, wait up.
I'm right with you.
Sorry, when you're 2 feet tall, of course everything's going to be 3 feet of sunshine.
No, man, but we're out here, and like I said, if you need an ear,
yeah,
Pop-Tart's always available. If I'm not doing, even if I am doing something, I'll take the time. If we can avoid,
I don't have one of them fancy built up Discords, but I'm always on my phone. That's good, and I'm in both of their
Hell
Discords. Yeah. If you pop into theirs, I will respond. Even when I'm working, if you're having a bad day and you pop in there, I am on my phone. I'm always on my phone. I'm sitting there handing out bills on my phone more often than not, and I suffer from sleep insomnia, so I go through days upon days where I don't sleep. I'll talk to you. I don't have an issue with that. Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key thing is, it's okay. It's okay to live vicariously through your video games if it makes you feel good. Just don't allow it to become your life. Allow it to just become your momentary escape. Because there's a lot of people that will, throw tons of money at something, whether it's a Twitch girl or a big video game, like let's say Star Citizen, right? My buddy wants me to play that. Yeah, my buddy wants me to play that so bad, and I'm like, he's like, I'll buy it for you. I'm like, dude, I would love to, but to get to your level, I'd have to pay like $1,000 to get everything that would keep me the ability to play with you. I said, I don't want to spend that. You know what I mean? I know so many people that have put so much real money into games that are buy to get ahead or buy to get this or unlock this. And it's like that too becomes a drug to people. I know a lot of people that used to do the CSGO skin, what you call it, like casinos, like where you gamble with them, right? And you'll go in and you'll meet somebody and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna put this skin and this skin in, and then you hit the wheel and whatever it stops on, that dude wins all those skins. And with skins on CSGO, you can sell for in-game currency or real financial currency, and it becomes a gambling problem then. It becomes a real world problem from your digital world.
Can we? You know what? Let's just hold off on that because
Hell yeah,
that topic,
that's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a topic, but also Rocket League, get your shit together. Thank you. That's it. That's all I got. Because
yeah,
we're gonna get back to that. But Rocket League,
feel you.
Really, man, y'all playing games.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What's going on? What did I miss? What did I miss today in the last 2 days that's going on with Rocket League right now? Let's end it with that real quick.
Hold on. Also
my man says,
sharing.
Preach Pop-Tart.
It takes on other people's problems as a coping mechanism. Your own inner demons helping is inherently good. Have to be careful. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Sometimes that burden transplants, but yeah, and I think that's, as we continue this, having these conversations, we'll dive into that too, because I've also haven't inherited other people's issues.
Yeah, I've done that too. I think we've all done that at one point in time. Sometimes we just took on too much.
Get too involved, But yeah, that's see, Royce, I see you.
Yeah,
I
see you and hear you. But man, we're an hour and a half in. I just looked at the clock. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. So we really only wanted this to go about an hour and a half. I don't want to go too much longer because it's so hard to keep attention and for us to keep talking about topics. But I promise you, next Tuesday's going to be fun. We're talking about new games. We're talking about on time. We're talking about new interactions of things that we can do. It's going to be great. I'm super excited to have a positive, fun show.
I want a bunch of chat interaction next week too.
That's what I want to. You know what?
Chat
it's going to be community. It's going to be community day next Tuesday. We're going to talk about games and stuff, but I want to know, and we want to know what's going on and what's impacting your life, whether it's video games, whether it's a cool new board game or D&D book that came out. Let us know what we're missing out on because maybe we just don't know.
Can I tell you what's triggering me?
We don't know about it.
Can I tell you what's triggering me real quick?
Only if I can tell you what's triggering me after you're done.
Cool. Professor's lack of facial hair.
Right.
What is going on? He's looking like an Abercrombie model out here. Get out.
Hey.
Get out.
Did you have to like buff your face to get it that shiny or what's up?
No, I think it's just the light.
Oh, it's just the light. Oh, he blames lighting.
Call him butter out here.
Let me just like suck my cheeks in a little bit. I want to get that nice jawline.
You can cut diamonds with that jawline.
I feel bad because I didn't take time to clean this up because like I literally when I messaged you and said, hey man, we need to go, I just got groceries out of the car and jumped right in the front of my PC. So that's just what we do. It's how we do it, getting carded again.
No, I'm not. I got one spot I go to. I live way well. I don't know where you live, but I live way up northern Maine, so there's not many places that card. Except for those that get caught.
Right.
And then they card everybody. It don't matter if you come in there with white hair, like looking like Santa Claus, you get carded.
Well, I know at my wife's store and a lot of the stores around here, as across pretty much the whole world. What's up, Ryan? What's going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate you. It doesn't matter how old you are. It is policy to card, and if you don't,
it is too.
You get a fine. I know, but you get a fine, and the company gets a fine. It's become a problem. And it's kind of sad. I mean, look, they had to take the tobacco age from 18 to 21. I think it was a dumb move, but because everybody's going to get it, no way, one way or the other. It is what it is. But I'm a little. You know what I'd like chat to do at some point in time. If y'all know Twitch, see if you can get shadow banned on Twitch. Like no bullshit, bro. I ain't playing. I'm not kidding. I've gone live for the last week and a half and have had 0 new viewerships, like 0 new people jumping in, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because I show up everywhere. I'm playing all these different random games, so I'm just trying to figure out either A, I piss somebody off because I'm just doing my thing, and they don't appreciate it, and they're like, no, this dude ain't for Twitch, boop, and he out, or is it just an algorithm that I'm missing? You know what I mean? Because it has to be something. There's no way that I can go a month ago seeing viewership rising to immediately a dead flat line. There's just no way.
I haven't been getting any new viewers either though.
Well, Pop-Tart has, but he also networks with a couple of other people, and I'm doing my best to network like that. But what I'm saying though is like on Facebook, you get thrown up there on that recommended channel every now and then, and you'll dump in 50, 60, 70 people that day. And with Twitch, it seems like it's gone off the hinges. So
I've heard bad things about.
See if they can look. See if
I think it's really the fact that this is the platform, like Twitch is a platform that is a lot easier to get started out on, and the fact that everybody's at the house.
Yeah,
I think just the fact that right now is just like a really hard time to get out there. But I love it. I love my community. Love y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the 5 people that every day. I do.
Hell yeah.
Every day. I appreciate you.
But I'm going to keep it 100. I would love to have a lot of viewers and people in chat talking. But if I can get the same 3, 4, 5 people every day, because we lit. We lit in the chat. We cooling.
See, I got I don't know if CP's in here, but C Parody, he said his nightly thing is to come home from work and pop into one of the 3 of us just chat or stream.
I ain't talking to him right now. Me and him gonna have words. Do you want me to know why? Hold on though. Because this little message, where's it at? Hold on. I'll have to find it later, but it says right here in my bot announcements, it says left right in my Discord. And I went, oh yeah, it's like that? Didn't even say goodbye or nothing, just bounce. Like, bro, I got too many Discords. Let me hit you up with somebody else's. All right, I understand that. I respect that, but he's gonna do me dirty and be like, boop, I'm out.
It'd be like that.
You got shadow banned.
Shit. So,
to the gulag.
I'm just messing with it, man. I mean, it's all just fun. But how many VOD views are you guys getting? So my for this podcast, this is podcast number 2. I haven't even looked at the first one yet. It's been a week, so I'm gonna pop on that tonight. But let's make that into next week's talking about new streamers and what it's like being a streamer that's been in a year or 2. What it's like watching the typical bullshit you see on Twitch and why and how we can overcome it. And then let's talk about some new games next week, because I'm hooked on this Valheim right now and I like it. And it's simple, bro. It's simple. It's easy. It's fun as a community to get in and do, but it's not your thing. You're more FPS and kind of like,
no, I'm thinking about like 95% of the people I mess with, I catch them playing Valheim. I'm like, bruh, I have to try it.
Yeah, dude. The only reason that I have it is because a buddy of mine from another community, shameless plug, Savage Vet, he gifted it to me. And I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do that. I said I would have gotten it eventually. It's like, yeah, but now you can come play with us. And so like we had a good day the first day playing. Like it was awesome. And I liked the interaction that you can get in the game. And it's actually semi-difficult to start it without somebody else that kind of knows what you got going on. But I'm telling you, you're going to like it.
Hey, Professor.
Mm-hmm. Yo.
Mm-hmm. Trying too hard right now, dirty fister. You dirty fister.
All right.
I got my wall of hats, but that one wasn't up on the wall.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, check us out next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. We'll let you know what the topic's going to be. I'll catch up with y'all later.